Howdy do, Who fans? Welcome to the Big Blue Box live stream here on YouTube. It's good to be back once again, another week, another live stream. It's all good. Thank you so much to all of you guys that tuned in last week. It was great to have you all here. Very, very cool. Right, this week, so those of you who don't know, those of you that are fresh to the Big Blue Box, I don't know what we do or whatever, me and my co-host Adam, we do a weekly Doctor Who podcast that goes out on all of the podcast networks and stuff called, as you might have guessed, the Big Blue Box podcast. So if you don't listen, or you haven't listened before, then head over to the website www.bigblueboxpodcast.co.uk. You can listen to everything on there, plus link off to everything. So it'd be great to have you a listener over there. We've just started doing these live streams. This is live stream number 2. So again, thank you so much to everybody that turned out last week. It was a very good turnout, so very much appreciated. Love you guys for that. And this week, yes, we're going to change up the Who chat a little bit. So I've trimmed it down a bit because we didn't have time to get into all of that stuff last week. So just going to be one topic, which I think is going to be quite going to be reasonably hardcore anyway and quite in depth. So it's going to be what are your thoughts and theories on the Timeless Child ahead of this Sunday's episode. So we've had the first episode of the finale, and that threw up another couple of questions that we didn't get answered and so on. So now we're going to see what gets thrown up for the Timeless Children, which will be good. So we'll get onto that in a little while. So I'm here up until around 8:30ish, 9 o'clock-ish. We'll see how this goes. And then we'll finish off with some Q&A for you guys, which will be good. So yeah, once again, welcome aboard. Hope you guys are liking these live streams. We'll continue to do these. Like I said last week, I'm hoping to do these weekly. So I think these will be really useful for when there's no new Doctor Who on the TV. And you guys need somewhere to come and hang out and talk Doctor Who and, you know, be part of a community and all that stuff. So we'll see how this goes, but so far it's going pretty well. So welcome this evening. It's really good to have you all here. Let's have a look. Electrode, good evening. How you doing? Craig Matthew, howdy do. David Morgan. I wonder why I couldn't type. I was watching last week's live stream. Oh dear. Welcome aboard though. Glad you found us. Andre, hello. Jamie Aspinall, hello. Who Books, hello. Bad Wilf. Marty, hello. How you doing, buddy? Jordan Shortman, one of our writers. How you doing, buddy? Those of you that don't know, Jordan is one of our very cool reviewers and article writers over on the website. Go and check out his stuff. Very, very cool. Very nice guy. Knows his Doctor Who inside out. So welcome aboard, Jordan. Who Books, have you got a podcast this Friday? Yes, we have. Adam is back this week. So we'll be back chatting lots of Doctor Who and what Adam's been up to and what, you know, all the same, you know, all the usual waffle. And then we've got our review of Ascension of the Cybermen. So that's coming this Friday, as always, John. Who Books? John Griffiths. Evening, one and all. I loved Ascension of the Cybermen and really can't wait for the Timeless Children on. Yeah. Yep. So Ascension of the Cybermen was a cracker of a story. It's it kind of feels like the finales that we used to have back at the RTD days, and just felt very, very cool. Electoral, same, although I am concerned about where they're going with all this change stuff. So that's one of the things that I wanted to dive into this evening with you guys. It is very much a where are they going to go with all this stuff? Because if you look at what Chibbers has been putting out there and some of these other bits and pieces, it's very much hinting at, you know, some big changes are on the way. So that could be something like one of the companions is just going to pop it. We've said that quite a few times. It could be something like the core theme around Doctor Who is going to be changing big time. So instead of this whole theory of this kind of renegade Time Lord that stole a TARDIS and buggered off and has been on adventures ever since, is a bit of a not quite as it seemed, and so they're going to change up the complete lore, and all that stuff. So who knows? Who knows what's going to happen with that? It could be a case of they're just going to change one fundamental thing, like, we've all been talking lots and lots recently about which companion is going to die and all that stuff. It could be, I'm not saying it will be, but it could be that the Master's going to pop it. This could be the reason why the Master's doing all this is because he wants to unload all of this information and all of this stuff onto the Doctor before he pops it. So there's that to consider too. So yes, lots of big stuff I think is around the corner, and we're going to find out on Sunday. So it's exciting though. It's really very exciting, and yes, let's chat about that this evening. Who else have we got on board? DW, hello, Electoral. I saw the leaks too, scary, but hope. Do you know what? I haven't seen any leaks. Myself and Adam are very on the same page with this stuff. We very rarely go into stuff that might be leaking or not leaking, or people have posted rumors or any of that stuff. We don't really go in for all that stuff. So what I mean is we don't intentionally hunt that stuff out. We don't go leak hunting or anything like that. There's plenty of people that send it to us, and it'd be really handy if when people do that, you'd label your email or something as spoilers ahead, because I've opened up a few emails in the past, and I've been spoiled big time. So yeah, so I'm not aware of the leaks, and I don't want to know. So anyone that's in the chat this evening, please, no linking off or pasting any kind of leaked stuff. If you want to discuss that, that's cool, but let's not spoil it for any of the other viewers and stuff. So let's try and keep that contained a little bit, because nobody likes to be spoiled, especially leading up to this, which is potentially the biggest episode of the series and the biggest episode of Jodie's era so far. So let's keep everything kind of a nice surprise and all that stuff. Cattails, Millie, looking forward to seeing some changes. We got to keep shaking it up. We certainly have. You've got to keep moving. You've got to keep doing what you're doing, but yeah, changing it and shaking it up a little bit. Nice to see you, Millie. Leslie Shergold, evening everyone. Leslie, another long-time reviewer, long-time listener. Welcome. Who Books, I love your podcast. I always listen to every Friday morning when I walk to school. Well, that's very cool. I'm glad you're loving the podcast, dude. Very cool. Gargantuan Apple. Now, I'm going to test my memory a little bit here. Gargantuan Apple. Is that Lewis Palmer? I think so. Evening, Lewis. If you're not Lewis, I apologise, but evening. Hello there, indeedy. Jamie Aspinall. I think it will be controversial of the leaks or rumours, if the rumours are true, but hope Captain Jack is back. Yeah, I'm hoping we see him pop up. I really do. I hope we see Captain Jack back. Should be pretty cool. I can't imagine him not. It would be very. It would be a massive tease to not have Captain Jack appear in the finale. Obviously, him being in that one episode as a bit of a cameo, that's cool in itself. That's all good, but we definitely need to see a bit more of Captain Jack. And yeah, it seems to be a bit of a trend for Torchwood at the moment. We've had the cameo, obviously, from Captain Jack in the Fugitive of the Jadoon. We've had Big Finish announce a ton of Torchwood stuff coming through, and Torchwood have just been, all of it's just been re-added to iPlayer, which is great. So it's a bit of a, and I saw John Barrowman's tweet the other day where he was still banging on about, he was still saying, yay, let's everybody jump on board and make a big thing of it so that we can get Torchwood back on the TV. And you've got to give it to John Barrowman, man. He definitely, when he wants to do something, he's like a dog with a bone, isn't he? He doesn't let up, which is a good thing, which is great. So it was just really funny to see, because I thought, is he going to play it down a little bit? Is he going to be a bit like, we've been down this road before and it's ended in disappointment sort of thing? But yeah, I don't know. But yes, would like to see Captain Jack come back. John Griffiths, my big fear is Dr. Ruth saving the day, coming across as the hero and undermining Jodie as the Doctor. That's another thing to consider, isn't it? The whole Dr. Ruth thing, because that was such a huge thing in that mid-series episode. It just, it was a smash in the face. It was it's like, holy crap, you're the Doctor. He's like, you're the Doctor. Hold on a minute, how can you be the Doctor? Pretty sure that's not how it works. But I don't know how they're going to spin that and stuff. I'd be surprised if they didn't do something with that, because that's a massive overhanging question that's not been answered yet as well. And that links onto something that Millie just mentioned. How are they going to fit everything into one episode? So that's another thing as well, which is like, are we in like the Rise of Skywalker territory here, where they just try and incorporate so much stuff into one thing that you kind of lose a bit of the you lose the focus on the important threads of the story and the important components, because you're trying to answer too many things, trying to do too much stuff. You kind of cram it all in, and you don't let certain things breathe, and I don't know. So yeah, maybe they're trying to do too much. Maybe they'll just leave a bunch of stuff unanswered, and people will just lose their bloody minds for the rest of the year until Doctor Who's back for Series 13. I'm guessing they're going to do that with a couple of things. They're going to leave it open-ended to a degree, and they're just going to leave a few things sort of open-ended, but I don't know. Right, who else we got this evening? Sebling, DW Sebling, hello. Ash Prosser, which former Doctor would you like to feature 13 with? McCoy. Off the bat, McCoy, for sure. I reckon it'd be a great double act, those two. McCoy and Eccleston. I know that Eccleston would never come back, so that's like one of those dream things. It's like, Eccleston would never come back, but it'd be great to see Jodie and McCoy work together. I think they would be so cool. Very, very cool. Who else have we got? Gargantuan Apple. It is indeed Lewis. Yeah, I remembered. See, the memory's not shot to bits just yet. John Scott, wondering if they're saving Jack for the festive special. Could be. Yeah, I think there's a little bit more to it than that. I mean, there's just a bit more to it because of his warning of the lone Cyberman. I think Jack knows quite a bit about what's going on at the moment, so it wouldn't surprise me if he's in it for sure. But yeah, don't know. Cheers, everybody. Hope you all got a cuppa. Who else we got on? Andre, really love Big Finish and their stories. Yeah, Andre. Big Finish are awesome. I've got many of their stories. I haven't got all of them because they put out so much content. So you kind of have to pick and choose which ones you want to listen to, because they just thunder through with so much stuff each and every year. So you have to, unless you've got a lot of time on your hands and you don't mind spending a bit of money on that stuff, then it's all good. But I tend to pick and choose, really. But yeah, Big Finish, man, do some great stuff. And we've relied on those guys a lot when there's been, especially those times where Doctor Who's taking a break or it's just not on the TV or not much is happening. You can always rely on Big Finish. They've got a good sale on at the moment as well. I think it's still on, like a load of good Cyberman stories and stuff. So yeah, go and check them out. Very cool. Bottle O Productions. Never mind, the IMDb cast list has changed. Oh, you said, just join the stream. Have you seen the cast list on IMDb for the finale? No, and I don't want to either, because that's one of those things where if I see a name on there or see something, that's just going to be a bit of a spoiler. So I don't want to dive into spoilers or anything. I want to be, surprised and amazed at all of the twists and cool stuff that's going to happen. So just as a bit of a friendly reminder, guys, if you do find any spoilerific stuff or leaks or anything, try not to stick it in the chat, by the way, just for the sake of, we don't want stuff like that spoiled ahead of the episode. Welcome aboard, everybody. Good evening. Welcome to the live stream. Who else we got? Hubrooks finally getting the reissue of season 12 Blu-ray next week. Oh, awesome, dude. I'm so glad that some of you have got to pick that up again. There was a huge thing around, were they going to do it? Because there was so much talk and chatter around, yes, the BBC are going to re-release that one, but they never did for ages. But then they went there was radio silence. We didn't know anything about it. And yeah, so it's great that you've picked one up. And anyone else, I heard last week that they were sold out already. So hopefully you guys have bagged one, excuse me, if you haven't already. So that's very cool. Ash Prosser, could Ruth be a regeneration of the Meta Crisis Doctor? I know they said that he had a human life, but could they have been wrong? Not a theory, I believe, but one to think about. Meta Crisis Doctor. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think they explicitly stated, didn't they, in that episode, that he wouldn't be able to regenerate. That was one of the things that they made it so emotional at the end of that story, was that although Rose really wanted to be with the Doctor, the proper Doctor, as a good, runner-up prize, I suppose is the best way to put it, you can have this other Doctor. But he's going to be more human, so he'll grow old with you, and you won't have all that stuff with me and all that stuff. So maybe it's a real. I think that one's a bit of a long shot, if I'm being honest. But it's a good theory, though. That is a cool theory. Can you imagine if it turned out to be true, and then Rose and Donna and everybody was crazy? Yeah, right. Andre says, I have seen the cast list, but I also wonder if it in their description of what's happening. No spoilers on my behalf. Right, thank you very much. Cool. Leslie Shergold, season 12 steelbook looks gorgeous. Looks a bit like Alice Zhang. Yes, it does. Alice Zhang's art, it does. That's what when we were recording the podcast earlier today, and we were talking about that on the merch section, I was trying to remember which artist that stuff reminds me of. And yes, you're absolutely right. It's Alice's artwork. It does look beautiful, though. I've pre-ordered that already. That's a defo pre-order for sure. Looks awesome. Who else we got? Mr. David Wilson. Evening all. Evening, David. Welcome aboard. Daniel Peters. How are you? Hey, buddy. Sorry a bit late. Don't worry about being late, dude. It's all good. Nice to have you on board. Marty Badwilf. I personally think Jack will be in the special. Do you mean the Christmas or New Year special, or do you think the finale as in the finale being a special? Electoral, I'm hoping that Chibnall has a good plan for Jack and he's not just using him for fan service. I don't think so, Electoral. I think he was a key part in that episode around... I think he was very key in that episode in terms of he's giving that Doctor a warning because he obviously knows a lot about that situation. He knows a lot about what's coming and all that stuff. So, excuse me, I think he will play a factor. Pretty sure he will play a factor just because he knows too much about it. It'd be weird for him to pop up and say, Doctor, don't do this for no reason, and then bugger off and we don't see him again. So who knows? Who else we got? Craig Matthew, love the Big Finish reviews on the website. Would you ever consider maybe a monthly roundup for the Big Finish you've listened to on a podcast? Would be great to hear your thoughts. Do you know what, Craig? I'm really trying in my head to figure out a good way to do that. I've thought of that exact thing. And a good way to do it would actually be, yes, a podcast. That would be one good way to do it. The other thing would be to do it as part of these live streams. That would be cool. The only challenge is I would like to do that with our reviewers, obviously. So with Jordan, Mark, and Maria. I would love to do that with those guys because they're the guys that are doing the reviews. But it's just trying to, pin them down because they've all got lives and everything, and can't just expect them to drop everything and do this stuff. So I'll give that some thought and run it by those guys and see what we can do. But yeah, that's a great idea and something I thought about. So yes, I will. Yeah, I'll keep you in the loop and you guys in the loop about our plans for that stuff, either on here or on the podcast. So yeah, it's a good idea. We'll try and get that rocking. Meme review. Hey, how you doing, buddy? John Scott. I assume one or more of the fam will be on their way out by the end of the episode. Time for this generation to get their own Adric. Oh, their own Adric. It's harsh. Harsh times, John. That would be cool. Oh, Adric's death, eh? Do you know what? I really freaking like Earthshock. I'm just going to put that out there. Really bloody like Earthshock. Yeah, I really like that story. And it was one of the first classic Who stories that when I was watching through it originally years ago, the method they used to create some impact about Adric's death actually really got me the first time I watched it, and it was the way that they didn't have any outro music. They just had Adric's star pin badge thingy, and it was just the credits rolling silently and stuff. And yeah, that was awesome. That was good. So maybe we'll see an Adric job. Who knows? Meme review. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you like Doctor Who and why? Oh. Meme review. That's a big old question. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you like Doctor Who? It'd be a 10, obviously. And why? Just go and listen to our podcast for the last 6 years that we've been doing it, I suppose. Which is an over-exaggeration. Wouldn't expect you to go and listen to every one of them. But yeah, that's such a huge question, dude. I can't answer that. I can't answer that shortly. That would take up the whole live stream. But on a scale of 1 to 10, yes, I like Doctor Who. Leslie Shergold, I miss the days of the VNAs, EDAs, and MDAs filling the gap. Would love to see Father Time on telly. Yeah. Yes. I can't disagree, Leslie. Yep. Planet Zog. Hi, Gary. Alex Kingdom. Alex Kingdom. You crafty bugger. Welcome. Hope you're doing all right, buddy. Hope all is well. Jordan Shortman. The Torchwood range is excellent from Big Finish. I'd recommend the Torchwood versus Old Monsters series. Gwen with the Fendal, Jack, Joe Grant, and Giant Maggots. Susie and the Slovene, Reese and Autons. Yeah, Jordan. Like I said earlier, Big Finish has just got a raft of amazing stories and everything. So those of you that have not checked out any Big Finish, go and do that. Loads and loads of cool stories. Some freaking brilliant stories from there. It's just, yeah. Somebody mentioned this the other day, and it would be a really cool if Big Finish switched over to a subscription service where, not like the one that they've got currently. I know you can subscribe at the moment, but more like the kind of video streaming service that we see from the likes of Netflix and stuff, where you can kind of pick and choose anything you want from the entire range, and you can download the content as well. So that would be amazing if you could sort of bung them, I don't know, a tenner a month or $5.99, rough, whatever it might be a month, and you can just go ahead and, it gives you like, I don't know, 10 downloads a month, but you can pick and choose and stream any bloody story. Then that'd be awesome. So I don't know, man, because they do put out so much stuff, but And don't get me wrong, they're individual stories and stuff. I don't think they're expensive, but when you add up all of the stuff they put out every month, then that soon adds up. So there we go. Right, who else we got? Welcome aboard, everybody. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you're all having a cracking evening, and that you're all doing something Doctor Who related. Snarf, snarf. Bottle O Productions. Even though your face is on the podcast page, I feel I must have ignored that, and I've listened to your podcast for so much of the podcast that I've pictured you looking different. I hope I don't disappoint, Bottle O Productions. My pictures, I've changed a wee bit since that. So that picture that's on the thumbnail for the podcast and stuff, that picture was taken back in 2015, 2016, I believe. And I'm, freshly shaven, clean shaven and stuff like that. And I'm a wee bit slimmer. So I really, really do need to get some updated pics done, actually. That's on the list of endless things to do this year. But yes, it's on the list of stuff to do. And so I need to get new pics done for this channel and the podcast. And I need to get new pics of Adam and us two together as well. But yes, thank you, Bottle O Productions. Hope I'm not disappointing you with what you think I look like in your head versus what I actually look like. Jamie Aspinall, not that long after the re-release of Series 12 was put up, it sold out. So glad I managed to pre-order it. Yeah, dude. Yes, yeah. I figured that it would go fairly quick, that because it was so popular and everybody was just climbing over themselves to get one. So glad that you bagged one. It's all good. Going to Wales Comic Con at the end of April to meet John Barrowman, Eve Miles, and Freema Agyeman, who played Martha Jones. Cool. Do you know what I'm thinking of going along to Wales Comic Con? Yeah, I was looking at their website night before last, and they got some wicked people there this time. Wales Comic Con has jumped up massively in the last couple of years, guys. If you can get to Telford, to Wales Comic Con, they've got some really good people, and they always have some good Doctor Who people as well, which is good. So, yeah, I don't know what the venue's like. I've never been before. I'm not sure how it's organised and run, but I've heard it's not too bad. So, might try and get along to that. Meme review. This live stream is pretty cool. Thank you. Ash Prosser. What does everyone think of David Tennant's son, Ty, wanting to be the third Doctor in the family after David and Peter? I have not read anything about that, Ash. I think David Tennant likes to try and keep his private life and his family private. So you rarely hear of anything about his family or anything. So I've not seen it. So I don't know where you read that, dude. But that's cool, though. That is pretty cool. Bad will for Christmas and New Year. Oh, this is back to your previous question. About Captain Jack. You think you'll be in the Christmas New Year one versus the finale? Okay. Yeah, I reckon it could be both. It could be both. Who knows, man? It'd be cool to see him in both. He's a cool character. Alex Kingdom, Sawyer was late with review this week. Guys, stop apologising, man. It's all good. You don't have to apologise for being late to the live stream or sending a review in late. It's all good, man. Don't worry. I'm not going to tell you off. So don't worry, man. It's all good. Welcome aboard. Meme review. Who is your favourite Doctor and why? My favourite Doctor is Sylvester McCoy in the classic years, because I didn't like him at all at first, but then I forced myself to watch him over, like I watched his era like a couple of times through, and the more I watched of him and the more I listened to him on Big Finish, the more I just fell in love with his Doctor and appreciated what they were trying to do with that era of Doctor Who, when budgets were being increasingly cut more and more and more, and at least one of the executive bosses at the BBC were against them, which is plain to see, and all that stuff. So even against all that stuff, those guys, they just brought some of the classic year's best Doctor Who. So yes, it's McCoy from the classic years, and I love Sophie Aldred as well. She's such a great companion. and I love the theme tune as well. So the McCoy theme tune is my second fave from the classic years. And for modern Doctor Who, that would be David Tennant. Just quickly, because when I started watching Doctor Who, I went back and binge watched. I picked up all the DVD box sets, and when I was watching Eccleston's Doctor, I kind of did that over a space of a couple of weeks. But when I was watching David Tennant's era, I was off work for some reason. I think I had 2 weeks off, but I binge watched all of David Tennant's stuff for like 3 days solidly. I lived David Tennant, and when it came to the end of time, part 2, and his whole thing of regenerating, that just crushed me. So I've got a big emotional attachment to David Tennant in that era. So David Tennant is my fave for that reason from modern Doctor Who, and McCoy from classic. Charlotte Stinson. Evening, Charlotte. What did you think of the music this week? Yeah, I quite like the music this week. One of the criticisms that we've had for Series 12 so far, that Adam and I have both shared on the podcast, is we both just haven't really heard much in the way of sort of good, memorable themes from Segan this series. So it was great to hear some cool stuff, and especially that theme when the Cybermen were on screen. When the Cybermen were on screen, there was this really cool kind of sort of thundering, like, cool theme. It was really good. So yeah, music this week was a lot better. Very, very cool. So cool that you guys are here this evening. A bit like last week, I expected there to be nobody here, so it was very, very cool. I thank you so much, guys, for taking time out of your evenings or your mornings, wherever you are, and hanging out. It's very, very cool. What else we got? Who Books, would you do a live stream with Adam? Of course, I will get him on. The problem with Adam is that his job is quite full on and has been for a few months now. So the problem is, because he's so full on and busy with work, by the time he gets home, he's knackered, so the last thing he wants to do is have to rush, having dinner and doing all that stuff. And also Adam's partner is away and travels a lot with work. So because Adam's partner's home at the moment, it's a sure bet that, he wants to spend some time together and all that stuff. So again, the last thing he wants to do is to jump on a live stream and chat with me when he's heard my voice already in the week and has been annoyed by my voice already and stuff. So we'll definitely get him on, though. We'll definitely get him on the live stream, because I asked him today when we recorded at lunchtime. I said, dude, you're going to have to come on the live stream. It's non-negotiable at the moment. You don't have to do it every week, but yeah. So yes, we'll get him on there. Dan Pinn, welcome. Evening. Loving the live streams. Thank you, dude. Welcome. John Scott, still haven't got over Adric. I was very tearful young lad when I saw it on transmission. Yeah, that crushed me a bit, that whole Adric thing. Don't get me wrong, Adric's not my favourite character, not my favourite companion. I don't hate him, don't get me wrong. I'm not an Adric hater like some people tend to be. I'm not, but I'm not a fan of him. But that episode, that story, they did pull at the heartstrings at the end. It was good. Electoral, the more I think about it, Ascension of the Cybermen has a lot of similarities to Earthshock, not just in the Cyberman design, but also tone, feel, and story. Yeah, it did. We said that on today's show. It's definitely got a bit of an Earthshock feel to it. When they're on the cyber carrier and you've got all those cyber warriors and all those, yeah, it definitely had a little bit of Earthshock about it. Definitely did. DW, favourite Cybermen story? Favourite Cybermen story would probably be Spare Parts, which is not actually a TV story. It's a Big Finish story. Peter Davison, Fifth Doctor story, but Spare Parts. Either Spare Parts or... yeah, Spare Parts, I would say. In terms of TV, probably... maybe this one. Maybe this one. The more, maybe not now, but the more times I watch this, maybe. Maybe this one, or potentially, what was that Capaldi one? with the. This is where I'm showing my complete utter crap memory. What was the Capaldi one with this Mondasian Cybermen and stuff? Which one was it? You guys in the chat are going to be screaming, aren't you? It's this one. The Doctor Falls. Yes, the Doctor Falls I thought was a pretty good Cyberman story too. Who else is on? Meme review, just laughing faces. Bottler Productions. I felt that Ascension of the Cybermen seemed weirdly parallel to the biblical Exodus at times. Would have been great if they called it Exodus of the Cybermen, especially when paired with Genesis. That would have been cool, did. Boy Wondermus. Gary, just wanted to thank you for your amazing podcast and the work you put in. I've been listening for over 5 years, since nearly the beginning. From your mate in Utah, Nick English. Oh, Nick. Dude, that's awesome, man. Oh, thank you. That's so cool. Oh, I really appreciate that. That's very, very cool. Nick English. I think you've commented quite a few times over the years, either on Twitter or Facebook. I can't remember, but I definitely recognize your name, Nick English. Oh, thanks, man. That's so cool. Thank you, thank you. Meme review. Would you? Who do you prefer, Cybermen or Daleks? I prefer Daleks because I feel like there's more to explore and there's more stuff to do there. Alex Kingdom, what do you think? This is kind of throwing the Who chat schedule out the window, guys, a little bit. I was going to do some Q&A at the end, but sod it. We'll just carry on with the Q&A throughout. It's all good. Where are we? Alex Kingdom, what do you think Segan can do to improve the music? Because it doesn't feel as big as Murray's, to me at least. Yeah, I was saying on Twitter the other night about this, Alex. I kind of miss Murray's themes a wee bit. I do miss his themes. Don't get me wrong. The whole sort of big bombastic, themes that Murray came up with, sometimes they were sort of right in front of the mix in terms of audio and storytelling. So sometimes it was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa, there's like a Murray Gold theme kicking in now. Let me just turn the TV down a little bit. Sometimes it felt a little bit like that, but you can't deny that some of the stuff that he came up with is just magical. And I get it that they wanted to make a bit of a change up, a bit of a switch. A bit of a switch with the music. It's great that Segan's on board and it's more atmospheric and more, it's a bit more sort of supporting music, which I think is a good shift and a good change from what we had with Murray. However, certainly in Series 12, I've just not heard anything memorable really. After each episode, I haven't thought, oh, that piece of music was awesome. The only two bits of music really was the theme in Sunday's episode when the Cybermen were on. That was really cool. And the other theme where they've used like the Doctor's theme that they used in the Woman Who Fell to Earth. They've used that a few times in different styles. So that's kind of cool, but there's been no real big cool themes that I've been sort of humming along afterwards because I just can't remember any of the music. So in terms of how to improve it, Alex, it's a case of I just think they need to try and weave the thematic music into the storytelling a little bit and use that as a character almost, because one of the cool things about the RTD and the Moffat era was that Murray Gold's music, you can almost view it as its own character in itself. So I think they just need to make a bit more of it, because at the moment Segan's music feels like stock music to a degree, and I hate saying that because he's such a talented composer and his music sounds so good, but I don't know, we'll see. Did you see they've just put Torchwood on iPlayer? I certainly did. That's very, very cool. So when Series 12's done and we're finished with our review of that, the week after we're going to do a review of Series 12 as a whole. So we're going to discuss everything that's happened over that. After that week, so in 2 weeks' time, we're going to go back to our rotation. So those of you that don't know, those of you that are new, that have not listened to the show, or you're brand new, what we do on the podcast is we rotate every week in the month. We rotate our reviews. So the first week is a modern Doctor Who review. Week 2 is Torchwood. Week 3 is classic Doctor Who. And week 4 is the Sarah Jane Adventures. And we've been doing that for just over a year now, and that's working really well. So the fact that Torchwood is now on iPlayer is great for those of you that have not got Torchwood on DVD or Blu-ray. You got no excuse to watch it to send your reviews in. So very cool. Bad Wilf, what's your mug? So yeah, get a few comments on this. So the mug, which is my favourite Doctor Who mug that I own, I got this from the Doctor Who Experience when that was open in Cardiff. Sad times. I know. It's shut. I know. Yeah. Is it too soon in the year to do the minute silence for the Doctor Who Experience? But I do see these pop up on eBay from time to time. So just keep your eye out. I can't remember what they described it as. I think it was, because it's an oversized mug. It's, I mean, look at the size of it compared to my head. It's an oversized mug, and I can't remember how they described it in the packaging. I think it might have been like comic book style or comic strip style or something like that. So if you do a search for that on eBay, they do pop up from time to time. As someone living in Telford, I've gone to many events at that venue, and it's great. Weird to suddenly be near so many celebrity guests. So Bottle of Productions is referring to Wales Comic Con in Telford. Okay, that's cool. So if the venue's cool, might try and get along to that. Ash Prosser, Ty Tennant mentioned it at the TV Awards last week. Oh, I see. I read you. Okay. I'm going to have to rattle through these because you guys are firing loads of questions. Ash Prosser, Craig Matthew, I just want to put out an appreciation comment on the Master's costume. It's absolutely wonderful. Do you know what? It reminds me of a darker version of what was that guy's name? Those of you that remember the original Batman series from the 60s, the guy who played the Joker in that, it reminds me of his costume. It's like a bit of a mix between his costume and Jack Nicholson's Joker in the Michael Keaton Batman. What was that guy's name? He's got a real distinct name as well. I can't remember. What was his name? His name was Cesar Romeo. Yeah. So if you guys Google Cesar Romeo Joker, you'll know exactly what I mean. So his costume actually reminds me of the Joker from Batman. This kind of dark purpley color. So yeah, it was awesome. His costume, yeah, very very cool. Loved it. As soon as I saw it, I was like, "Ooh, that looks cool." So you can just see it now. All the Comic Cons from here on in, there's going to be loads of cosplayers, because I imagine that suit's not going to be too difficult to get or put together. So that's cool. Hoovian Callum, sorry I'm a bit late, but here tonight. Don't apologise, dude. It's all good. Welcome aboard. Alex Kingdom also just wanted to say thanks for inspiring me to make my own podcast. Done 5 episodes now and loving it, dude. What's your podcast, Alex? Let me know. Send me a link or whatever. Tweet me a link and I'll give it a listen. Lewis Palmer, it kind of hits you with the fact that Adric is essentially a kid, which is all the more shocking. Yes, Adric's demise was shocking on a few levels, dude. Hubux, after the live stream, I might rewatch part 1 of the series 12 finale. Do it, man. Do it. World Enough and Time and the Doctor Falls. Yeah, good Cybermen stories. Yes, thank you guys. World Enough and Time and Doctor Falls. Yeah, they were good Cybermen. Good Cybermen stories. Dean Jones, hey buddy. Hope everything's good. Evening. One small theory I have going into the Timeless Children. Not so much arc related, but could the Doctor and the Master be revealed to be related as originally planned in the 70s? I don't know, man. It's certainly possible. Excuse me, choking on my tea. It's certainly possible. I think, oh, crikey. That does throw open a whole a whole can of worms. And it also doesn't really explain the thread that we had running through Sunday's episode with Brendan and that whole thing, because I could be wrong, but it feels like he's going to be linked to the Timeless Child in some way. Probably wrong, you know, we often are, but yeah, the Doctor and the Master being related. That's such a good theory as well. I don't know, man. I don't know. That's a really interesting one, Dean, because I mean that would be pay some, what's the word? It would lend some credibility to the thing that they've hyped up a lot, in which they keep going on about this, you know, things are going to change forever, you know, and everything's about to change and stuff. So it could be, mate. It's an interesting one. I'd be interested in your thoughts, guys, on that, on Dean's theory, whether the timeless children are the Doctor and the Master. You know, maybe. Leslie Shergold, what would you like to see happen with the show while it is off the air? So that again be kept in people's minds. More books, more merch, more figures of all descriptions. That's a great question. And the first thing is, I would love to see an official Doctor Who podcast. That would be great, because as a person who podcasts a lot, and a buddy of mine who I do my Star Wars podcast with, he runs a podcasting hosting company, and I speak to him and some other people involved in that, and just sort of in the thing in general, in the podcasting space in general. I've seen a big growth in the last year of official podcasts that are released to support the show that they're about, and you just see these official podcasts spring up, and they're very cool. So a really good example of one that springs to mind is last year. Do you remember the series that went out called Chernobyl, which was great? What they did was, alongside that, or just after it went out, they did the official Chernobyl podcast, and they got the producer and writer on there, and they did that every week for about 6-7 weeks. And it was really good, because there was a guy interviewing him, diving into the reason why he created the show and the background behind it and behind the scenes stuff and all that stuff. It was really, really good. So I think a lot of TV production companies and just producers in general are now looking to podcasts as like an extension of the show, in a way to still keep people engaged and all that stuff. So what they could do is they could do that. They could have somebody like Toby Haydock, who's, you know, a name that springs to mind, who does the Big Finish podcast and some other bits. And each week they could have somebody on, like they could bring on the Chibbers, Jodie, you know, Tosin Cole, all those sorts of people. And then they could sort of mix it up as well. They could get, I don't know, they could get McCoy on there one time, Sophie Aldred, they could get Nicola Bryant, they could get RTD, you know, and just really, you know, make the most of the podcasting space, because I think people would love that. So that's one thing that I'd love to see during the dark times, but we'll see. Yeah. But also more books and merch is also another good thing. You can't get enough stuff, I suppose. Anyways, Beefy, you old bugger. Evening, buddy. All I want are the horn section from the 5 Doctors this section. This weekend, sorry, yeah. Oh, dude. Oh, there's a lovely piece of music in that suite. So the 5 Doctors suite, if you fast forward to like 1 minute 50, I think it is, there's an absolutely beautiful segment of music in that. Love it. What else we got? Who else we got? Leslie Shergold. What happened to that rumoured relaunch of The Experience to be held in Cardiff Castle? Don't know, dude. No idea. Don't know what they're doing with that stuff, but they need to do it. Millie, I don't have iPlayer. I've never seen Torchwood. Okay. So iPlayer is something that's free. I think, if memory serves, you need to log in. You need to have a BBC, either a BBC Shop account or a BBC iPlayer account you should be able to get one if you just do a search for BBC iPlayer. I think there is some convoluted thing around. You need to have a TV license in the UK to watch iPlayer. I don't know how they manage that or anything. I don't even know if it's a thing anymore, but I think you can sort it out online. Anyways, yeah. If you're not seeing Torchwood, give it a go. A lot of people like it. A lot of people not so much. It's a bit hit and miss, especially in season 1. But no, it's good. Give it a go. Who else we got on? Who else we got on? Who else we got on? Leslie Shergold, sorry. TARDIS Monkey, who's a popular Twitter user, posted a video where the experience is just a base of concrete. Oh no, that's sad. You guys have jumped in with Caesar Romeo. Yes, I knew you guys would be shouting at me saying it's Caesar Romeo. John Griffiths, just think how out there Jack is, and that's Torchwood. Yeah. Azan Ashraf, welcome aboard. Good evening. Your thoughts on JoJo Bizarre Adventure? JoJo Bizarre Adventure, what's that? What's JoJo Bizarre Adventure? Dude, I don't know what that is, man. I thought that was some kind of Doctor Who thing. I don't know. Sorry, I can't help you there. Azan. I don't know what that is. This is a Doctor Who stream, so I don't know. Houdin Callum, did you see that Gat is back in the finale? No, I did not see that. So that's just a gentle reminder, gentle prod, guys, to try and keep the spoilerific stuff, unless it's been put out officially by the Beeb. If they put any tweets or videos out or whatever, just try and keep that stuff off the chat. We don't want any spoilers. But no, I didn't see that Gat was back. So that's interesting. Alex, the podcast is currently only on YouTube at the moment for money reasons, as it's on my channel, but I'll send you a link. And I called it the Timeless Podcast. Oh, nice touch. Very cool, Alex. Very, very cool. Yanto Williams, do you think we will see Dr. Ruth next week? Yes, I do. I think we will definitely see Dr. Ruth. I think she's too big of a thing for her not to pop back up. So, yeah. Millie, I think anything is possible, really. Bad Wilf, Mrs. is home. I've got to get off. Take care. Yeah, see you later, dude. Hopefully chat to you soon. Miles McKenzie, hello. Hey, evening, dude. Only just got home, and I think Brendan is the timeless child and possibly even the Doctor. It would make sense to the TV movie, but whether anyone wants that, who knows? Yes, yeah, that would make sense. And yeah, okay. So you think Brendan? Yeah, so Brendan's the forerunner at the moment, the front runner for the timeless child. That's definitely he's up there. But there's also this thing around the Doctor and the Master. Because the title of next week or this week's episode is The Timeless Children, that kind of throws it up in the air a little bit, because the whole time we were going through series 12 and the arc that they created for it and the thing that the Master threw in was the timeless child, that kind of threw everything up as it's about one person. But now that the title for next week is, I keep saying next week, the title for this Sunday's episode is The Timeless Children, I'm not sure. Yeah, that just throws more curveballs, dude. So, yeah, maybe. It's a good theory, though. Very cool. Millie says, I agree with Miles. What was the first conclusion I jumped to? It was that ginger. It was that ginger hair. Craig Matthew, there is an official Doctor Who podcast. Well, official in my head canon, the Doctor Who Big Blue Box podcast. Oh, thank you, dude. Let's have a look. Boy Wondermiss. I also have a podcast called The Fandom Podcast. Over 300 plus episodes. Cool, man. Let me make a note of that, and I'll go give it a listen, dude. The Fandom Podcast. Cool. And Alex, your one was called The Timeless Podcast. Right, cool. I'll make a note of these guys and I'll give them a listen. Cool. Millie says, while it's off air, please, BBC, please, can we have some in-depth behind the scenes? Yeah, bring back Doctor Who Confidential, man. That was the best thing for behind the scenes stuff. Very cool. Beefy, see you later, Bad Wolf. Miles McKenzie, a podcast would be interesting, especially after listening to David Tennant's. Yeah, his podcast was cool. They could do it in the same style. That kind of thing where he's, somebody has just got somebody on from the show and they're just sit down having a casual chat about their input into Doctor Who and what they've done and their time and Doctor Who and all that stuff. So an official podcast would be great from those guys. Miles McKenzie, yes, I didn't think of that before. I'm not sure how Ruth fits in, but they mentioned Brendan forgetting everything. So I assume they're wiping his memory. They are wiping his memory. At the very end of last week's episode, Ascension of the Cybermen, you see those guys strapping him into the chair, putting the contraption thing on his head. And they said something along the lines of, you're not going to remember anyway. So, yes, they are wiping his memory by the look of it. What else we got? Mars came. We could get a host and one to 4 Who guests each week for more eras. Yeah, that'd be awesome. That'd be very cool. They could do like a mix of like David Tennant's podcast, which is a very kind of loose form, just casual chat / interview thing, mixed with like the the special feature that they've done for the classic Doctor Who Blu-ray sets. I think it's called On the Sofa or From the Sofa. What's it called? That scene where they've just got 3 or 4 people who were in that episode on the sofa watching it and just chatting away. They could do like a mix of that with podcasters and people just, chatting around what they did and their memories and stuff from the show. It'd be very cool. Millie, is iPlayer Apple though? Nope, iPlayer has nothing to do with Apple. iPlayer is a website or an app that you have on like Apple. You can have the iPlayer app on Apple TV. But you can also get it on, Amazon Fire Cube or Stick, whatever it's called, or Google, whatever it is. So no, iPlayer is just a website that you go on and watch a load of BBC stuff. Electrode, with everything going on at the moment from Jack returning to Torchwood on BBC iPlayer, excuse me, surely Torchwood has to come back soon. The BBC would be missing a trick to not at least consider it. It's such a tricky one, Torchwood, because yeah, it's great. It's a great show, obviously, and Captain Jack is great. They just seem to be fighting a losing battle with it, to be honest with you, because a couple of years ago, John Barrowman very publicly kind of diarised and catalogued his interactions with everybody at the BBC. He went on this big charge to try and get Torchwood back into production. And he was tweeting and Instagramming and live streaming about his meetings that he was having with the BBC and various people. And he was trying to get the fans to get behind it and retweet everything. And it just fell on its head. He just couldn't get... I think he gave it a cracking shot, but I'm just not sure if there's enough interest to get Torchwood back, which sucks really because... I think there's at least one more series in it, really. I think there's some cool stories left to tell. Not just for Captain Jack, but some of the other people at Torchwood. So it is a bit of a shame. Because, I just don't think there's enough of an interest from the public, from the viewing public, to put it back on. But stranger things have happened, It's... stranger things has happened, so we'll see. Let's have a look. Craig Matthew, did you see Graham almost call himself the Doctor in the episode last week? Imagine a Doctor hiding himself as a companion for 2 series. Then he was a Doctor all along. Wowzers. Yeah, Adam and I spoke about this when we recorded earlier. And that is a very strange thing to have in that story, in that episode. Mainly because it's such a random thing to do. it really is such a weird thing to try and do and try and pull off. Because the way that Adam and I spoke about earlier was it almost felt like Bradley Walsh fluffed his lines, but for some bizarre reason they kept it in. So yeah, it's such a strange one, because especially this series, and you know, if you've listened to us on the podcast, you'll know that one of our complaints and one of the things that we've not been too keen on is this exposition that the Doctor's launched herself into in some of the episodes. So it doesn't feel like this whole thing with Graham saying, I'm the Doc, and then correcting himself and then, you know, moving forward. That feels like a red herring to me. It just doesn't feel like it's direct enough for Chris Chibnall, because he's very much in the habit of just spoon feeding everything to the viewer and explaining everything and all that stuff. That feels a bit too far across the line for Chibbers. Graham being the Doctor, I'm not sure, man. There could be something in it, don't get me wrong. There could be something in that. I'm just not sure. What it's going to come, if anything's going to come of it. But there we go. What do you guys think? Do you think, because that did the rounds on Twitter and Instagram a lot after that episode went out, that was one of the talking points, was the Graham saying that, and does that mean anything? So what do you guys think? What else have we got? Do you think it's Christmas or New Year's for the special this year? I hope Christmas, personally. Alex, I hope it's Christmas, because it's just been a staple for Christmas Day for years now. And don't get me wrong, the whole New Year's thing is not a terrible thing. I just think there are less hungover people on Christmas Day versus New Year's Day. So I think Christmas Day, I think a lot of people are full up and relaxed and on the sofa and having a bit of a nap, potentially. Unless you're like me and my family, who go away on holiday every Christmas, so we have to watch Doctor Who from a hotel room. But generally speaking, if you're sort of collapsed on a sofa and you've had a nice lazy, cool Christmas Day, then yeah, it's great to watch Doctor Who on Christmas Day. The New Year's Eve thing, it's not terrible, but because so many people go out at New Year's and get smashed, normally New Year's Day is a bit of a, you know, oh, I'm so tired and hungover. So yeah, it feels better, it feels nicer to have it on Christmas, but not going to complain too much. Millie says, I figured they must have liked the rest of the scene and didn't reshoot it. This is like Graham's fluff of the line, or not necessarily fluff of his line, Bradley's line, but whether there's anything more to it. Yeah, I mean, there's no way that they would have let that through if it was a fluff. This is not Hartnell's era where they don't have the studio time or the videotape to go back and reshoot it. You know, it would just be another cut. You know, Bradley, you fluffed that, and he's like, yeah, sorry. You know, take 7. You know, and on you go. So they wouldn't have let that wouldn't have slipped through the net. That's an intentional thing. It's just whether or not anything serious comes of it and what they're trying to achieve with that line. So I don't know. Plague88, hey there, how you doing, buddy? Welcome everybody. Evening. Those of you that are brand new, those of you that have not been on the live stream or seen the podcast before, my name is Gary. I'm one of the co-hosts over at the Big Blue Box podcast, and this is our second live stream. I did the first one last week, which is on YouTube to watch. If you don't know what we do a weekly podcast, me and my co-host Adam. That goes out every single Friday, and currently we're reviewing all of Series 12 as it goes out, obviously. And then when that's finished, we're going to do a Series 12 wrap-up, and then we're on to our usual review schedule where we look at classic and modern Doctor Who, Torchwood, and the Sarah Jane Adventures. So if you like the sound of that, just head over to whatever podcast app you listen to podcasts on. Just do a search of the Big Blue Box podcast, give us a like and a follow and a subscribe so you don't miss a show. That would be very cool. So those of you that are new, that's in a nutshell what the Big Blue Box podcast is. So welcome aboard. It's good to have you. We're going to be streaming for about another half an hour-ish, roughly. What else we got? Who else we got? Electrode. Got to come off work now and go to work. Can't wait for Friday's pod. Good luck with the rest of the stream. Cheers, Electrode. Good to have you this evening. Let's have a look. I'm not holding my breath, though. New Zealand doesn't usually get access to most of this kind of stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. Just give it a go. Just do a search on Google for iPlayer. Go to the official iPlayer website, and you should find it on there. Give it a go, man. Your last resort, if you've got any sort of technical knowledge of how that stuff works, you can always get a VPN. A VPN allows you to access a website in another country that's normally restricted, but allows you to act as if you were in that country and access it. But give that a go if you really want to give it a go. Who else is on this evening? John Griffiths, like Gary says, watch Sarah Jane too, but leave class alone. Absolutely watch the Sarah Jane Adventures if you've not watched any of that. That's a must watch. Adam and I have loved watching and reviewing Sarah Jane Adventures because that's the only kind of Doctor Who thing that neither of us have seen. So when we're reviewing Classic Who, Modern and Torchwood, we've seen all of that. So don't get me wrong, the chance to rewatch it all, to review it, is great, and we love doing that. But the thing that's cool about the Sarah Jane Adventures is when we get around that week to reviewing it, it's such a cool week because it's brand new stuff from the world of Doctor Who that we've not seen before. So, and I'll tell you what, the majority of the Sarah Jane Adventures is amazing. It feels just like the RTD era. Great storytelling. Liz Sladen is just brilliant. Some really cool, surprisingly creepy monsters and villains and aliens for a more kids-orientated show. So those of you that have not seen the Sarah Jane Adventures, highly recommend that. It's very good. Miles McKenzie, if Graham is the Doctor, I'm picturing character options reaction on Sunday after just releasing a Graham figure. Yeah, I'm just... Dude, I'm just not feeling character these days. Just not impressed with which kind of annoys Adam because Adam is very much a character collector. You know, he loves his figures. You know, fair play. He loves all of his figures and stuff. I've got a couple of bits. I don't know if you can see in the background, but I've got Tennant and Martha down there. I've got some more bits on the other bookcase there. I used to pick up some of their bits, and I got some of their TARDIS figures, but yeah, just the production quality is just terrible, in my opinion, of the character figures and stuff over the last couple of years. So kind of gone off character, so I'm not really fussed if they, but it would be funny though. It would be funny if after putting out the Graham character, it's like, you got to make another one now. DW says, which villain would you want to return in the future? For me, I'd love to see a new take on the Weeping Angels. Yeah, man. The Weeping Angels have got to make a comeback at some point. Would love to see the Angels back. That would be very cool. On the other hand, though, they'd have to do something different with them, because we have had a couple of Weeping Angel stories that have been... The obvious one is their... The obvious thing is their ability, or their... Sorry. The obvious thing is not being able to see people when they're being viewed or looked at. So that then creates the mechanism for the story. So they would have to introduce something fresh to the Angels. They did something. They did a little bit of that at the end of Tennant's era, when Rassilon mentioned something about the Angels of old or something like that, and you saw the character who was supposedly the Doctor's mum and another person with their hands over their eyes and stuff. So they've dipped their toe in the water with a potential backstory, but future stories featuring the Weeping Angels, I think they're going to have to try something different. But it would be cool, and I'd also like to see. I would like to see from the classic era not necessarily the classic era, but I'd like to see the Autons make another comeback. I think that could be cool. And I'd also like to see the Sea Devils, because they were, a lot of people thought they were going to come back to this series. So that kind of got me hyped up a little bit, because I love the Sea Devils. So yeah, it would be cool to see those guys make a comeback. That'd be cool. Millie says, I'm just trying to think now if Graham has any special possession that could be his chameleon arch. Does he have a special watch or something? I don't think he does, Millie. Mars Mackenzie, his laser shoes. Yeah, those bloody laser shoes. Yeah, I don't think he does, Millie. I don't think there's like this one thing that's like a prop that he's been carrying around, or a specific bit to his outfit or his costume. I don't know. There's no, I don't think there is. David Paul Morgan, thank you, Gary. Very interesting show. Looking forward to next podcast. Good night. Oh, cheers, David. It was good to have you on board, buddy. Jordan, a bit of shameless self-promotion, but I also run a Doctor Who YouTube channel with a couple of my friends called Who's Watching. Yeah, I know of that, Jordan. We're currently reviewing every episode from Series 12. Yes, I know of that. I've seen that quite a few times, Jordan. So yes, for those of you that don't know, Jordan Shortman is one of our reviewers on the website. Go and check out our website with he does loads of cool Big Finish reviews. He's also reviewed a lot of the old Virgin published Doctor Who stories, all of that stuff. So go and check him out. But yeah, Who's Watching? It's a cool show. It's a cool channel. Sorry. Mars Mackenzie, in all seriousness, maybe something that had things that meant a lot to him because of Grace. Possibly a wedding ring. Maybe. It's just such an interest. It's so interesting that line that he said, because it's so random. And it's not, and there's been nothing at all that's been teased about Graham in any shape or form. So it's just random and out the blue for him to suddenly do that now at this stage in the series, where there isn't enough to explore in terms of Graham being anything other than a companion. So evening, Daniel. Welcome aboard, Birdie. Welcome aboard. Who else we got? Martin Arnold. Hey, Martin. Hope you're good, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Welcome aboard the live stream, dude. Millie says, there was one episode of Sarah Jane on DVD, The Green Death, I think, but that's all I've ever seen. I came into Doctor Who very late. Capaldi's first episode was my first ever Doctor Who. Oh, okay, so, right, I read you. So, yes, go and check out all of SJA. Definitely recommended. And, yes, do Torchwood as well. Do all of it, obviously, but try out a few. Do like the first, I wouldn't say do the first episode of Torchwood and see how you get on, because, like I said, the first series of Torchwood can be a bit of a slow burner. It's a bit hit and miss with some episodes. So if you've got access to it, then go through like the first 4 or 5 episodes and see what you think after that. Don't judge it on the first couple. Try and do that. But definitely all of Sarah Jane. From what we've seen so far, and we're up to series 3 now, at the end of series 3, it's been amazing. So go and do that. Plague 88, love your collectibles. Oh, thanks, dude. Cheers. Alex, what's your favourite and least favourite series of New Who? Favourite series would probably be either series 1, Eccleston, or series 4, and the specials from Tennant's era, series 26, and maybe series 14, maybe, from Classic Who. Yep. John Griffiths, Gary, as Cattails is new, pick a great episode she can try out. From New Who, I'd try Unicorn and the Wasp for a bit of fun. Yeah, I mean, in terms of great episodes to try and pick out, if you want some recommendations and stuff, I would personally go with. Let me fire you one episode from each Doctor. These like my recommendation for each era that you wouldn't go wrong with. So from Eccleston's era, go and watch Rose, the first one, Dalek, Father's Day, and if you've got time, I mean, no, I'll stick with that. The last 4 episodes are brilliant. Series 1's brilliant. So Rose, Dalek, and Father's Day, check those out. Series 2 for Tennant, School Reunion, the Girl in the Fireplace, and The Impossible Planet and the Satan Pit. Go check those out. Series 3, hope you're writing this down. Series 3, go and do The Shakespeare Code, Human Nature and Family of Blood, and Utopia, Sound of Drums, Last of the Time Lords. Series 4, go and do Partners in Crime, Planet of the Ood, Unicorn and the Wasp, and Midnight. There are better stories than that, but go and check those ones out for sure. That'll give you a nice lead in to the whole arc of that stuff. And then the specials, all of it. Grab your tissues for the end of that one, for the end of time, part 1 and 2. Series 5, The 11th Doctor, The 11th Hour, amazing. Go and check out Vincent and the Doctor and the Pandora Opens and The Big Bang. Series 6, go and check out The Impossible Astronaut, Day of the Moon, Let's Kill Hitler, and The God Complex, possibly. Series 7, going on to hit and miss territory now a little bit. Same with Series 6 to a degree, but Series 7, go with A Town Called Mercy. It's pretty good. Cold War and Hyde. Series 8, go with Listen, Mummy on the Orient Express, and Dark Water, Death in Heaven. Series 9, go with the Zygon Invasion and the Zygon Inversion 2-parter, and Heaven Sent and Hellbent. If you don't want to do the regeneration stories, then, or like the series closers, then don't do that. Series 10, go with The Pilot, The Pyramid at the End of the World, Empress of Mars, and World Enough and Time and Doctor Falls. And then Jodie's era, just watch all of it from the beginning. But anyway, hopefully that's given you a bunch of stuff to get cracking on with. Yeah, so those are my recommendations for stuff since Eccleston, really. What else we got? I'm new, but I've seen everything. Only 2 episodes left to watch. Fenric and Survival. Fenric and Survival. Yeah, dude. So Fenric is great. Saw Fenric at the cinema a couple of months back, The Curse of Fenric. It was really good seeing it at the BFI. Very, very cool. And Survival. You either really like that one or you're not too fussed on it. I really like it. And the ending's just really sad. Just that last sort of closing monologue, and that's close out of the classic Who era. Martin, I'm good, thanks. Enjoying the stream. Looking forward to the podcast. Loving season 12. Oh, nice. Glad you're doing well, Martin. And thank you for that. Yeah, so yeah, our review of Ascension of the Cybermen this Friday, and then next week it's going to be our review of The Timeless Children, and then the week after that we're going to do like a Series 12 wrap up where we discuss the overarching story arc for Series 12 and some good, pick out all the good bits and all that stuff. Beefy, last episode Yaz says, "You've come a long way, Graham." Then pats him on the arm. She might as well be wearing a black robe and carrying a sign. Yeah, I didn't consider that, Beefy. I did not consider that, mate. Something's definitely going to happen in terms of losing people this Sunday. It's on the cards, man. Something definitely is going to happen. But yeah, I didn't consider that. Yeah, she must be wearing a black robe and carrying a sign. Millie, you've seen everything. Oh, cool, you've seen everything. I live and breathe Doctor Who. Alex, obviously this is a joke, but is it scary to you guys that I'm off to Cardiff University in September, considering how young I was when I first put in an audio clip? That is crazy, dude. Because when you used to send in audio clips for your review, you were a lot younger then, so your voice hadn't broken and stuff. And then you had a break for a while you were just getting your studies done and all the rest of it. And when you came back, your voice had broken. And yeah, it was very cool. So yeah, that's nuts, man. It feels like you've sort of grown up with us, and yeah, we've sort of kind of been there with you as you've gone through high school and college and stuff. So that's great as well. Congratulations that you're off to Cardiff Uni. I know a couple of people that went to Cardiff Uni. Great place, really cool. You're going to love it there, dude. So congrats on that. Millie, I could talk you all under the table if I got the chance for Doctor Who. I'm sure you could, Millie. I'm sure you could. Martin Arnold, season 26 is absolutely stellar. Not one bad story. Yeah, dude. Love season 26. I was so glad when they announced that as not the final, but the next Blu-ray box set special edition thing. I was over the moon about that. So yeah, very, very cool. Just let you know, guys, I'm going to wrap up this live stream in about 10 minutes ish. So if you want to fire over any last questions or Q&A or your thoughts on what you think the Timeless Children might be ahead of this Sunday's episode, then do that. I'll try and answer those before we wrap up in around 10 minutes ish. My tea's still warm, which is amazing. Although rapidly going cold, so yeah. Hooving Callum, what would you like for the next classic season box set? I would like to see the TV movie. No, I'm joking. There wouldn't be much of a box set. I would like to see... That's a good one. I would like to see, for the next Blu-ray box set, another Pertwee era. I think that would be cool. Another Pertwee season, should I say. Another Pertwee era. That's weird. Another Pertwee season. I think I'd love to see more Pertwee on getting the Blu-ray treatment and stuff. That would be cool. And I'd also like to see them try and tackle some of the earlier Who episodes where some of the episodes are missing within each story, or some of the stories have been animated and stuff. It's going to be really interesting because I'm assuming that the game plan, like the overall goal with these Blu-ray box sets, is ultimately, or should I say eventually, is to have just seasons 1 to 26, all of them, in that format. So it's going to be really interesting to see how they handle some of the Hartnell and Troughton stuff, where a lot of their material, especially Troughton, is just not there, is missing. So I'd like to see a Hartnell box set next and see what they do around the special features for that and that sort of thing. So yeah, I'd like to see another Pertwee. I'd like to see another Pertwee as the next one, or McCoy's first one. So what's that, season 24, 25? And I'd also like to see a Hartnell or a Troughton one next. Any of those ones next. That would be awesome. Alex, I am the Timeless Child. I was also able to get season 12. Nice one, dude. Glad you bagged a copy of that. Dan Peters, what stories do you think are very underrated? For me, it's Gridlock, the Centauran Stratagem, and The End of Time. Dude, The End of Time, part 1 and 2, massively underrated because it shows Tennant at, like, some of the scenes in those two episodes. It shows Tennant at his absolute best. Just phenomenal stuff from Tennant, which I can't watch too much because I honestly, no word of a lie, when I watch The End of Time part 2, it literally crushes me. And yeah, so I can't watch it too often because I hate feeling like sad and melancholy afterwards and stuff. So, but it's really good. What else did you say? The Centauran stratagem, potentially underrated. That's not one of my faves. But stories that I find to be underrated would be Midnight. I think that's a cracking story that's underrated. Rose, Eccleston, episode 1. I think that's a big underrated story. I think a lot of people breeze past that one on their way to get into the better stuff in that series, but it's a cracking one. I really like Partners in Crime. I think that's an underrated story. I actually really like Unicorn and the Wasp as well. I also really like The Brain of Morbius. I think that's a cracking story. I love that story. That often gets overlooked. I really like The Visitation, the Fifth Doctor story. I think that gets overshadowed by some other Davison stories, but I love that one. Yeah, I could answer loads of these. It's going to go on for ages, but there's a few, mate. I hope that answers your question a wee bit. But yeah, there's loads that we could go through for that. Season 12 should be dispatched this weekend / Monday. Yeah, cool. So any of you guys that managed to get that one, thumbs up. Glad you bagged that, because I think that's sold out already. Martin Arnold, I'm wondering if they are going to replace Jodie with Dr. Ruth. Surely not, but it's what came to mind after watching the trailer. No, Jodie's already signed on for Series 13, dude. So unless they do something along the lines of they bin her off, but she comes back for some kind of weird alternate parallel universe timeline thing in Series 13, sorry, then that's unlikely, dude. But you never know. But I know that Jodie has signed on and is back as the Doctor in Series 13. So, but you never know. Stranger things have happened. Alex, a strange question, but when it comes to pre-orders, which do you prefer, Zoom or Amazon? I prefer Zoom for pre-orders, purely because more times often than not I've got it early from Zoom, so that's a nice little bonus. But for anything else it's Amazon. But for pre-orders, anything sort of Blu-ray, DVD kind of related, then yeah, pre-orders from Zoom. Does Zoom ship to New Zealand? Amazon doesn't. They do worldwide shipping, I'm pretty sure. I don't know 100%, check their website, but I think they do worldwide shipping. Beefy, I did get word from Galley 1 that there's an early Doctor box set coming down the road. Yeah, I'm reading between the lines there, Beefy. I'm reading between the lines, so yeah, that'd be cool. Martin Arnold, have you tried Kablam? Kablam. Miles McKenzie, I believe they may, don't hold me to that, but Zoom are amazing when it comes to ordering. Yeah, they are good. I really like Zoom. And we've worked with them a couple of times in the past as well. Last year, we teamed up with them and they gave us a bunch of copies of the Blu-ray classic season box sets to give away. So we're going to be working with those guys again this year to do some stuff. So they're really cool guys, actually. They really get fandom and they get, what's going on with the whole media. Not media as in news, but mediums as in Blu-rays and stuff around Doctor Who and all that stuff. So yeah, Zoom are very cool. John Griffith said it earlier, but I don't want to see Ruth replace Jodie. It would undermine everything. Don't think Chibbers will do it anyway. Yeah, I think when it boils down to everything, Jodie is the Doctor. Let's not forget that important fact that Jodie is the Doctor. And regardless of how many theories and things that we knock around, how we think the Master might be involved, and is she the Timeless Child or one of them, yes or no, and this whole Dr. Ruth thing being the Doctor, yes or no, and Graham potentially being the Doctor or more involved, let's not forget that Jodie Whittaker is the Doctor, and she will be the Doctor in this Sunday's episode and throughout all of Series 13. So I don't think she's going to be replaced. I don't think she's going to be sidelined or anything like that. I think the theories that are kicking around timeless children, I think she's related to that. But I don't think it's pretty certain we're going to see Dr. Ruth back. We might see Captain Jack, not sure. I also think there's a big knock on when we get to the end of Sunday's episode. I think there's also going to be some stuff left open for the special at the end of the year. So let's not forget that as well. They're probably going to leave a couple of cliffhangers for what's going to come around the corner for that. So I don't think they're going to explain and answer everything, but I don't think Jodie's going to be replaced anytime soon. Daniel Fox, The End of Time is so emotional and amazing. Yeah, bang on, man. It is. It's amazing. Millie says, Amazon used to be amazing. I got my whole classic collection from them, but late last year, New Zealand changed their tax laws or something. Now the whole world is just saying no to us. Oh, no. That sucks, man. That really sucks. Hopefully they'll sort that. Hopefully they'll sort that. Hope it's not a thing like we've had over the past couple of years in the UK and in the US as well, I think, where Amazon have just been dodging all of their tax bills and everything, which has caused this kind of thing to happen. So hopefully they'll sort that, Millie. Daniel Fox, have you seen the new Series 12 Steelbook? It looks quite nice. It looks beautiful, man. Yeah, we spoke about that earlier on the podcast recording. It looks so nice. So I pre-ordered that straight away when I saw that. Yeah, man. Oh, it looks really good. Very, very cool. Tea's definitely cold now. Alex, do you think £50 for the Series Steelbook is too much? Yes, I do. But yes, we'll still all pay it. Is the answer to that. Beefy, Bernard Cribbins makes me cry ugly man tears. Oh, man. Every time. I know what you mean, Beefy. I'm exactly the same. Watching old Cribbers cry. That whole last bit, everybody thinks that, well, a vast majority of people think that the final 10-15 minutes of the End of Time Part 2 is just Tennant indulgement and it's over the top and it doesn't need to be done and everything's OTT. But I think it's perfectly done, beautifully done, and is so sad. That whole scene where the Doctor says, I'm off to get my reward after he's seen Donna's mum and Wilf is even from that point on, I'm crying like a baby. And yeah, I just cry ugly. Same as you, mate. It's Russell T. Davis, man. How you've not got a knighthood yet is beyond me. Like, perfect Doctor Who. Anyway, Darth Revan. Hello there. Hello, Darth Revan. We're about to close up, dude, but it's great to have you on board. Martin Arnold, Cribbins is a legend. He steals the show in Turn Left. He certainly does. Cribbins steals the show in every episode he's in. Just an amazing actor and works really well with David Tennant, the two of them. Just great together. Millie, just hearing his name makes me cry. Yeah, it does. John Griffiths, thanks for chat, everyone. Pocahontas, as Matt Smith might have said. Yeah, cheers, John. Glad to have you on board this evening, mate. Really glad you could jump on. Alex, before the end of the stream, I want to say bye, and I should be on next week's show with a review. All the best. Nice one, Alex. Thank you so much, dude. Dan Pin, which Classic Who story should I watch after this live stream finishes? You should go and watch. Go and watch The Curse of Peladon, just for the crack. Just for the crack, go and watch The Curse of Peladon. There you go. I've solved your conundrum, your Who conundrum for this evening. Millie, I can just see his face in Turn Left when he salutes the man driving off on the back of the truck. Oh no, the feels, dude. The feels. Beefy, it's even more emotional when you think about the guy who played Donna's dad died. That they tipped that little tribute into the... Yes, yeah, absolutely, man. That does make it. Yeah, it's very sad. Well, there's quite a few of you here. I'm trying to close the stream down. Are you all jumping on? This is very cool. Ryan McGivern, sorry I'm late to the party tonight, but hello. Hey, Ryan, no worries, dude. Don't worry, it's all good. Miles McKenzie, Wilf and Graham for a spin-off. Wilf and Graham for a spin-off. That would be pretty good. That's a good idea. Of course, the ultimate spin-off would be Clive, the character that's in the episode Rose, who Rose goes to see to find out about the Doctor. Clive is the guy to bring back. Trust me. So Clive and Graham would be amazing, or Clive and Wilf. That would be amazing. Cheers, Gary. No worries, Dan. Darth Raven, I can do so much more. Oh, guys, stop it, man. Still makes me cry until this day when I always rewatch in the time. I can do so much more. Oh, dudes, you guys are killing me, man. The whole end of time thing. So sad. Anyways, Martin Arnold, cheers for the chat, fellow Time Lords. You're welcome, Martin. It's all good. Millie, but then you watch his Faulty Towers episode. What a contrast. Definitely. Yeah, of course. What a contrast. Yeah, massive contrast. Right. I think that's going to do for the stream, guys. It's been awesome having you on board, as always. I can't tell you how grateful and appreciate the time taken out of your evenings or your mornings, wherever you are in the world, to come and hang out and chat Doctor Who. I love doing these. If you guys still love jumping on and seeing these, then let me know and I will continue to do them. I'm going to try and do them once a week. I just love just grabbing a cup of tea, hanging out and discussing all of the Doctor Who things with you guys. So it's amazing. So thank you again so much for all of you guys that have subscribed to the YouTube channel as well. It means so much. And yeah, we've got some cool plans for these things, for these live streams and extra video content. So yes, it's going to be cool doing more of this stuff on YouTube as we go throughout the year. So again, thank you so much for jumping on board and hanging out and listening to me waffle on and answer your questions about Doctor Who. My name is Gary, one of the hosts over at the Big Blue Box podcast. If you don't listen to the show or you're not sure what it is, then just on whatever podcast app you listen to podcasts on, just do a search for the Big Blue Box podcasts. Just give us a sub over there. We put a new show out every single Friday where we talk about Doctor Who news, merchandise, and we review Doctor Who as well. And also subscribe to this YouTube channel because we'll be doing more stuff with this throughout the year. Thank you so much, guys, in the chat. Thank you, everybody, for jumping on board. And I will see you next week. Until then, take care of yourselves and Alonzi.